Hello and welcome if you're new to my channel, and if you're a subscriber, a warm welcome back. Tembea Afrika marks the start of my luxury travel series, a series I had wanted to start right at the beginning when I first launched my channel, but the pandemic happened and the rest is history. Tembea is Kiswahili, and Kiswahili is one of two official languages spoken in the East African community. So think of countries such as Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, and South Sudan. And the word Tembea means to travel. And it's a word that was first used as part of an initiative by the Kenyan government. The tourism sector was on its knees off the back of terrorist activity related to Al-Shabaab. And as a way of addressing the situation, the government started promoting tourism to the locals, and hence Tembea Kenya. I have merely borrowed the word Tembea and added it to Africa because over the last couple of years, whilst preparing my series, I've had a lot of conversations with people typically based on the African continent. And when they think of going on holiday, they'll largely look to destinations in the Far East, West, Eastern Europe, North America, for example. But there's now a growing movement to holiday on the African continent, because for all the negativity leveled against Africa, the poverty, corruption, lack of infrastructure, social, political unrest, it's still a beautiful continent with an abundance of resources, its people, the flora and the fauna. And I actively want to be part of the group that are actively promoting the African continent and showcasing the beauty that is there and changing the narrative of what is largely negative. And the ultimate decider when to start, my biggest audience on YouTube is American, and I've had so many countless requests to start my luxury travel series, and now seemed the right time for Tembea Afrika. I'm Anesu Sagonda, and I produce educational luxury content for anyone after the finer things. Whether you're young and starting out in life and wanting to reap the benefits of buying quality from the get-go, or you're new to money and wanting to learn how to navigate the terrain, or you're into luxury but you want to focus more on the brands that are very much under the radar and packing a mighty quality punch, then my content is very much geared towards you. I'm going to kickstart the series in my home country, South Africa. South Africa is located right at the bottom of the African continent. It's the country that hugs the base of the continent. And I'm starting in the Western Cape, which is in the southwest corner of the country. I have a strong and diverse selection of 6 luxury resorts. I say resorts because the majority of the places I'll be talking about are resorts, in that they offer more than just accommodation. They have facilities where you can be taken care of for a number of days or the duration of your stay. You actually may not even need to leave. Only 2 of the places are just your luxury hotels. But what I want to stress from the very beginning, and I'll say this again and again, is that the properties I'll be showcasing are the very top end of the market. And what you will find is that they compete like for like with your Western equivalent resorts in terms of facilities, the food, the accommodation quality. And in some cases, they are even better than your world-class establishments. The hotels publish 2 rates for the locals, which are reduced, and then they publish international rates, which typically are quoted in hard currency. So think of pounds sterling, euros, or your US dollars. But regardless, you will get better value for your money in Africa versus spending the same amount in a Western hotel. So that's just something for you to bear in mind, that you're going to get way more value for your money. And in some cases, the properties will be even better than their counterparts in the West. I'm going to dedicate one video to each of the 6 luxury resorts I'm going to talk about. And what I will do, particularly if it works in terms of proximity, is recommend some of the must-see, must-do tourist attractions or activities. The point of this video is to whet your appetite so you know what's to come, and of course, get you to subscribe so you don't miss out on the series. The two hotels that I mentioned earlier are located on the Cape Peninsula. The Cape Peninsula runs from Mule Point in the north down to Cape Point in the south. It's 52 kilometers in length. At the top of the peninsula, you have the city of Cape Town. And behind the city, you have Table Mountain, one of the oldest and most recognized mountains in the world. From the top of Table Mountain, you get the most spectacular panoramic views of the entire city of Cape Town. Immediately to your left, you have Lion's Head, and then you have Signal Hill. Signal Hill gives you lower, closer views of Cape Town, and also views of Table Mountain. And then to your far left, you have Robben Island, and in the middle is the city of Cape Town. And then as you veer to your right, you have the Cape Winelands. And in particular, you can see Paarl and you can see Franschhoek. Franschhoek is where one of my luxury resorts is located. I also have another resort in the Cape Winelands in Stellenbosch. Stellenbosch, Franschhoek, Paarl, Wellington and Tulbagh form the backbone of the Cape Winelands. The winelands in their own right are a major tourist attraction for Cape Town. And then to the right, you have Table Bay and you have Devil's Peak. Coming back to the center, you have the harbour known as the Victoria and Albert Waterfront, the oldest working harbour in South Africa, and it's also the location of one of the hotels. The second hotel is located on the far side of the peninsula. Northern part of the peninsula, in an affluent part of Cape Town, overlooking the beach, you have the most breathtaking, the most stunning beachfront villas. Around Camps Bay, you have Clifton, you have Bantry Bay, and that is where the other hotel is located. You literally can whale watch from the comfort of your bed. It's surreal. You have unhindered views, and you just have the lull of the sea to send you to sleep. And then the rest of the peninsula is made up of Table Mountain National Park. And the major star attraction, and in fact a tourist attraction in its own right, is the floral kingdom of Table Mountain National Park. The dominant vegetation is fynbos. And fynbos literally translated means fine bush, but it's actually small heather-like trees and shrubs. It's very distinct in terms of the look, the richness. There are over 9,000 plant species, and it's endemic. You can only find it in that part of Africa in the entire world. Of the 6 floral kingdoms in the world, it's the smallest, and it's also the richest, and it's the only kingdom where the flowers are found only in one country. Fynbos extends out through the rest of the Western Cape, right up to Port Elizabeth in the Eastern Cape. And then in the middle of the park, you have to the southeast Simonstown, and it's worth a visit for the cutest African penguins ever. And then coming down to the bottom of the peninsula, you have the Cape of Good Hope and also Cape Point. For many years, I believed it's the point at which the Atlantic and the Indian Oceans meet. That's not correct. That accolade actually belongs to Cape Agulhas. Cape Agulhas is located about 170 kilometers southeast. It's not as spectacular, and therefore the Cape of Good Hope and Cape Point took that accolade. But Cape Agulhas is technically the most southern point in Africa, and also the point at which the Atlantic and the Indian Oceans meet. And then coming back to the mainland, the western coast, about 3 hours drive from Cape Town, you have the location of one of my other luxury resorts. It's in a place called De Hoop Nature Reserve. It's secluded. It's all about the marine life. You can whale watch from your bed, the fynbos, the nature drives, nature walks. It's an absolute piece of heaven on earth in terms of it's secluded, it's quiet, it's beautiful, it's absolutely serene. And then my final luxury resort is located towards the end of the Garden Route. And the Garden Route is a 300-kilometer coastal stretch running from Mossel Bay through to Storms River. And it's a drive with the most spectacular, very, very different, varying vegetation. You've got wildlife. And along that route, you have wetlands, you have woodlands, you have mountains, you have beaches. It's an absolutely stunning place, and it's known as the most beautiful part of South Africa, and it truly is. It's a place I would recommend spending at least 10-14 days. South Drive is very easy to hire and also fairly competitively priced to hire cars. The roads are very good, and you just drive around the area and stop in different places and explore. There's a lot to see, and I look forward to talking about that in the appropriate video. And the particular resort is located in a place called Plettenberg Bay. Plettenberg Bay is known as the jewel of the garden route, and it's an absolutely amazing place. I look forward to kickstarting the series. Do subscribe so you don't miss out, and let's Tembea Afrika.